hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy by the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head. Get you out of my head again.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway.
Wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart rates a beat of down, I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a sign. That I draw with a transparent parade. I feel like I'm fading.
And boom, just like that, it's Thursday night. And you know what that means? It's party time with the Video Bros. I'm Bobby Munson, and the man beside me, he is the man with the angelic voice. He is Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday, brother. How are you?
Woo, great intro, Munson. Happy Thursday to everybody out there, and especially to all my wrestling people. How y'all doing tonight? It's Ring Respect Radio, baby.
You bet. No, just wouldn't be a good time without our good friend Bobby Stats, who's up in the house joining us. Bobby, how you doing?
Bobby.
Hello to you, sir. Hello to your gal Diane as well too. From us, the Video Bros. Nice to see you here. We got a lot going down talking about SPW New Zealand here tonight, Papa Smokes. But you know, as we are getting things rolling, I know we'll say it at the top of the hour as well too. But we got some things coming up. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun as we say hello as well to Astrid Pizarro joining us in the chat. Hello, Astrid. Thank you for joining us. And we have got the Spartan 192 up in the house as well, too. Let's go. I agree. Yes, it's going to be great. Yeah, doing great. Glad to hear it, Bobby. Like I said, we got a few things going on, Pop Smokes, and one of them in particular is only a week away from tonight. It is going to be the biggest thing you and I have personally done here in our career so far, is doing a live version of Ring Respect Radio on location. It's going to be at Louis' Loft in 1 week's time, as Ring Respect Radio presents a trip through the territories in conjunction with the University of Saskatchewan. We're going to be talking about the history of professional wrestling from right here in Saskatchewan, but it's also going to be a live event. So come join us if you're in Saskatoon at Louis' Loft. Before the end of the show, I will put the poster with that QR code up again for you so you can all scan it if you want to book your seats to join myself at Papa Smokes Live. Papa Smokes, how excited are you for next week? And on top of it, we're streaming it live to the world, not just the people of Saskatoon, but everyone gets to get in on this.
Oh, pretty excited, Munson. And you know that we've had kind of a project like this bumping around in our minds and in a couple of discussions for a long time now, but it's so nice to have the university invite us over to do this talk. Now we get to do it in front of some people live. That kind of thing tends to make me nervous, Munson, but I don't feel too nervous about this. I'll be with you. Everything will be fine. And it's just another damn Thursday night. You know what I'm saying? We get to do the trip through the territories from our very own backyard, Saskatoon, all about the province of Saskatchewan. It's kind of a dream come true in a way, Munson. So this is going to be great. Everybody tune in. It's going to be a proud moment for us. Once we get through and once we get done, it's going to be massive.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Again, like I said, for those of you who want to attend live, we will have the details before the end of the hour here for you. So stay tuned for that. Also got to say, Pop Smokes, we're right around the corner. It's not that far off. Saturday, December the 7th, Prairie Pro Wrestling presents Seasons Beatings. And let me tell you, Pop Smokes, we sold out of the reserve seats. The seats are all sold. We sold out of those faster than we did than the previous show, which was our biggest show of the year, at Ring of Horrors. We've sold these ones even faster. Everybody is so pumped and psyched and ready to see what's going to happen next in Prairie Pro Wrestling that they snatched those tickets up in under 1 week's time. General admission tickets are all you got left. If there's any left, always make sure to check with our sponsors, Hunter's Bowling, as well as Glitch Gifts and Novelties here in Saskatoon, if you want your chance to get to witness Prairie Pro Wrestling live. Otherwise, you can always join us on YouTube, where we are live. We are live with a new match every Saturday. But Papa Smokes, record numbers for Prairie Pro Wrestling lately. It has been phenomenal. The PPW Nation are coming out in droves. They're bringing their friends, and their friends are bringing their friends, and everybody wants to get into these shows.
Well, it's so awesome, too, because the Ring of Horrors in October, our Halloween show, as we like to call it, is usually the big show of the year. And many of the rivalries we have in PPW really built and came to a head at that October show. But as we all know, there's no off season in professional wrestling. We were left with more question marks after Ring of Horrors Part 2 or Part 3, whatever you want to say. And now the December show is a must-see, because there are still some resolutions that may or may not happen at that show. And hey, it's December. 'Tis the season to be jolly, Munson. By that time, I'm not getting all out into the Christmas season quite yet, but by December, we all will be. So an evening out in Saskatoon for wrestling fans, a Saturday night, so tasty. PPW Seasons Beatings. And everybody, thank you so much for buying tickets. Thank you for supporting. And all you walk-up customers, you better get on it. Get your general seating now, because you don't want to be left out in the snow with the reindeer.
No, of course you don't. And that's exactly the case. So it's going to be a fun time. Season be fun for us, not so much fun for the people taking a good beating inside that ring. But I guarantee you, the PPW Nation will be having the time of their lives there. What I do want to share here is I'm going to pop this link up in the chat for all of you, and I am going to get back to you guys in the chat as well right away here. But I'm just going to throw this up here for a second. Papa Smokes, 1 week ago, I was featured on CFCR as hosted, Pro Wrestling Weekly as hosted by The Stove and our good boy NJ. They had me on the program, and the link is now available there for you all. So go and check that out. But yeah, Papa Smokes, we had a blast talking to those two guys. They had me on. We talked about PPW. We talked about the live event that we got coming up in 1 week's time. So I'm very appreciative to them. And I want everybody, if you have an opportunity, go and check it out. The link is right there. That'll take you to the replays of Pro Wrestling Weekly with The Stove over on CFCR Radio here in Saskatoon, where I got to be a guest. And they're going to have more PPW people on. They kind of want Papa Smokes to be in that mix eventually, too.
Well, sure. I can imagine that for sure. I listened to your interview, Munson. You put the link up on X as well. Very good. Very cool show. Didn't realize they had this going. I think NJ might have told me a long time ago, but cool. Good. It's if you're not from this area, CFCR is like the college radio station here, so to speak, the locally produced and locally funded radio station. And by God, they got a wrestling show on there, and they had Munson on it. You did great, buddy. You always do great.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And Astrid saying it makes me, when we're talking about PPW, it makes her miss the shows she went to in Edmonton. Astrid, I really wish that PPW could have lined up with your trip out this way, and that you, Melball, and Andre could have made your way down for a Prairie Pro Wrestling experience, because
one of these days,
let me tell you, Prairie Pro Wrestling is just that. It's an experience to be had. Bobby saying that someone from Canada could be getting the WWE ID mark at the Northern Crown this Sunday. I hope it's somebody as good as like a Sean Moore. That would be phenomenal. Looking forward to seeing which wrestlers from your guys' country get the WWE ID. Yes, very interesting. I know more news has come out about how that works. It really gives WWE first dibs on signing these particular wrestlers if anybody else becomes interested. Whether that's good or not, we'll find out. It's left open to be seen at this time how good it's going to be. But I mean, for the wrestlers who are on this list right now that haven't been heard of, I guess on the sense of their indie bookings, where they're at right now, and eyes on the product, having that ID is pushing people to start searching these names, going to the internet, and finding them. And that's how you can start getting into these independent promotions and stuff like we're going to be talking about here tonight, Papa Smoke. So I try to take the silver lining from it and see the good in it, and see that it's not only helping the individual wrestlers, but the promotions that they work for as well, too.
Well, sure. And it's not like they didn't have the pick of all the top indie talent since whenever, right? I mean, they
True.
always had that. It's only formalized and institutionalized now. They can lock you into a contract even sooner and make sure that you don't develop any personality or any traits that they don't like before you even become a big wrestler. So I don't know. There's good and bad to it. It's not vastly different than it was before. I was going to say Vince gets his pick. Now it's Endeavor or TKO. They get their pick. They've always had it in a way.
They always have. They're always going to. I mean, they've got the money. They've got the big production, everything like that. I mean, yeah, maybe the AEW is paying more money, essentially, and stuff like that. But you want more worldly exposure. Obviously, WWE holds that credibility with the long standing that they've had. And it doesn't matter how good anybody else's product is. They don't have that history is the biggest problem there. And so, it's always been the WWE way. It's always something that they've, like you said, Papa Smokes, they already had this in a sense. But if I go back to that silver lining that I'll take from it, if it helps the wrestler to get noticed, to get seen, sell some more merch, get some more money in their pocket, then I'm okay with it. Because again, support indie wrestling, support indie wrestlers, buy a shirt, buy a hat, buy Riley Cruz guitar picks, whatever it is you got to do to buy from these wrestlers. Buy stuff from them, because that's what at the end of the day helps them out the most.
Yeah, great ethos to have. Help the guys when it counts, when in their early days, when they need the money and when they need the exposure. Yeah, very cool. Good to see all the guys moving some merch at PPW too. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great. Speaking of indie wrestling, though, Pop Spokes, no time like the present to talk about one of our favorite promotions all the way from the edge of the world. It is SPW out of New Zealand and Halloween Haunting 2024, one of their biggest shows that they put on down there. And we knew they had the big title match. We had questions about it. We wondered about James Shaw's, presence within this title picture. We are going to find out more about that here tonight. This was, again, SPW being SPW, which is a great promotion, putting on quality, building up to, using talent that they've had for a while, bringing in new names that they've had and stuff like that too. There wasn't much dull in this match. There are a couple matches that are obviously clearly better than the others, but as a whole collective, I had fun from start to finish with this, Pop Spokes.
Oh, very much so. I'm always glad on this podcast when it's SPW time, and I got to thank you again for suggesting this and recommending the promotion from New Zealand. Everybody's kind of chuckling, well, why do these Canadian guys love this New Zealand wrestling so much? I don't know, because it's really good.
Yeah,
so I'm glad to cover this. I'm into it from the very first show. We've maybe watched 4 or 5 of their sort of pay-per-view or their released cards or whatever, and I was into it after the very first one. So it tells you they're doing something right. Tells you they've got characters and wrestlers which can grab your interest both in terms of in-ring and promo. And then the matches are good. The cards are set out good. We'll talk about all this in a few minutes. Just glad it's SPW time again.
Yeah, and there's some cool talking points here throughout this entire program. We're
going
to kick things off on opening bout that we had here tonight. Taylor Adams taking on Wanna Fight. This was our opening match from SPW's Halloween Haunting. First, we're going to say hi to our good friend BDJ, who's up in the house now joining us. How you doing, BDJ? Thank you for joining us for Ring Respect Radio. So, Wanna Fight, who's been around SPW for a while, Papa Spokes, is taking on Taylor Adams. This was, in my opinion, a great way, as always, and they're very good at this, of picking a match that doesn't take away from the rest of the card, but it's also a match that is enough to get the fans excited, into it, interested. That's exactly what these two guys did throughout this entire matchup. It was a great back and forth. Wanna Fight taking the win at the end with a shock roll up, kind of throwing Taylor Adams, who's they said on commentary, the more experienced, world traveled professional wrestler. This guy's been all over the world. Wanna Fight, I believe they said, has never left New Zealand, and so he gets this big win over Taylor Adams. Adams, a little shocked, goes to shake his hand afterwards, and as he does, he does the handshake. They're celebrating, and then Adams goes on the attack on Wanna Fight. Whether this leads to a rematch down the road or it's just a message Taylor Adams isn't going to put up with shit, I don't know, but I like this one. This was a good starter. What are your thoughts?
No, for sure. An excellent first match in the card, and just kind of like you brought up, you and I have always been a fan of that booking strategy of not putting your coldest preliminary matches right at the very beginning, especially not that first match. A lot of times when I watch a wrestling show, I find the first match very important. And if it's a colder prelim match of 2 guys where there's one job guy and another guy that's not really over yet, it can be cold. It can be ice cold. And I've seen that, and I've sat in armories and school gymnasiums and stuff like that where it's just, oh my God. Sometimes the first 3 matches are like that. It's not that they're bad, it's just that they're not hot.
Yeah.
So we like that. I know that you and I have talked many times. We both like that booking strategy. They use it in PPW, thankfully, is putting a pretty decent match on first. Because sometimes you have to think the fans are not cold, but coolish when they get there. They haven't seen anything yet. And remember, there are first-timers in your crowd that have never watched wrestling live. You can't give them a chilly preliminary match with 2 green guys at the very beginning, because now that's going to put your focus for the whole card on God, that wasn't so great, that first match. Really hope the next ones are better. No, started hot. So Wanna Fight and Adams here had a good one. It wasn't going to be overly flashy to take away from some of the big moves that would be used in the upper part of the card, but just enough action, just enough back and forth to keep it going. Tyler Adams, big, tall, heel, slow working guy, big striker. The commentators put him over as a strong style guy, excuse me, from Japan on his tours. He slowed the match down nicely. Wanna Fight brought the energy up as the babyface. Good stuff here. Don't know what they're thinking in the future, but Wanna Fight going over in this one. So some momentum for him. Is he going to stick around SPW? Time will tell.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll have to find out at the next event for sure. But up next, Papa's folks, we got to talk about the SPW Tag Team Championship. The Black Light District managing to snag those titles at the previous event. This time around, no opponent set for them, so they're going to set their own. They're going to have an open challenge. And this entire portion could have gone wrong in so many ways with what happened here, and yet it didn't at the exact same time. Everything they did here ended up working, and it was a great position on the card to have this. Blacklight District, all four members come out. Moody gets on the microphone because the guy is killer on a microphone. He knows what to say and put this group over, and he issues that challenge. And he starts talking down some of the talents, and they pluck Sean, Sean the cameraman? He was the camera operator, I believe, or
security guy. Yeah.
Security guy, Sean the security guy, out from the outside of the ring. Apparently, he has just gotten into professional wrestling training. Poor Sean, first debut in there, having to face up with these four gentlemen. Nate said to him, he hasn't got a friend in the world. There is nobody in the world that would stand by Sean's side in order to give him an opportunity at the tag team titles. Then the music plays, and the big man, Jamie Tagatanasi, comes walking on down. And, man, I'm telling you, up against the tag champs, Jamie Tagatanasi could almost get this job done himself, if not maybe get this job done himself. This guy is a beast. He is a star, and he is what glued this match together. Now, were there moments where you could see that Sean was inexperienced? Yes. But it almost, I found, worked because of the fact that they sold the fact that he is brand spanking new. You're not going to get a polished wrestler that is prepared or ready for the ring. And they used him only sparingly while Jamie carried most of the match for his team up until, of course, the finish, where you get some of the screwy shenanigans that allowed the Black Light District to make the distraction and retain the belts. But is funny as some of the spots were with Sean, say, missing the elbow drop and stuff like that, again, it almost plays into the fact that they're showing you Sean's not quite there yet, and he got pulled in by this group that wants to just run amok over all of SPW. They're the ones that drew him in. He didn't go out there asking for this title shot. They drew him into this title shot, and his inexperience got the best of him, and it cost him and Jamie from possibly pulling the big upset there that night. And the numbers game worked in favor of the Black Light District again.
Yeah. And when this segment started, I was kind of like not sure where they were going with it. Once they got Sean in there, and he was looking terrified, looking real small and real skinny and all that. And I get it, he's a trainee, he's starting out, but he looked like he was out of his element. And I thought, what the hell are they doing here? Then when Jamie came out, it was like, oh yeah, this is great, because I love this guy. He's huge. He looks like he should be in the bloodline or something. Just massive New Zealander. He's got all kinds of intensity and all kinds of energy and anger towards the ring. And then the BLD tag team champs are both kind of smaller guys too. So now we've got a match just visually, right? Like, Sean is very small, but he's got a giant lunatic as a partner. And then the tag champs are crafty, but they're small too. So Jamie's running all over these guys, smashing them from pillar to post, by himself, doesn't care. Eventually, the chance comes, the logical moment to tag comes, and the crowd's kind of going, no, don't, man, don't. But he tags Sean in, and Sean goes for kind of a people's elbow type thing, and oh, absolutely useless, just misses it by a mile. Now the heels have got him trapped in their corner, trapped in the ring, and they're working him. And now this trainee is we're gonna see if he knows how to bump. And I don't think he had much choice in the match. They bumped him all around the ring. And now as fans, we're waiting for the hot tag, and Jamie's just foaming at the mouth, waiting for this. And then the beautiful moment comes. He clears the ring. He's destroying the BLD, but of course, he is one guy. And without a proper partner, the BLD, very crafty, they're gonna pull some heel moves and get the pinfall, of course, on Sean. And that's now he got a match that works out perfectly. The wimpy, cowardly heels get their win and retain their titles. Jamie still looks like an absolute beast and an absolute monster. He doesn't lose out in this at all. And Sean's got his first match under his belt. Success, who knows, but the match went just fine. The spots went just fine. So it's a win-win all around. Nice match. Wasn't sure where they were going with this segment, but turned out to be a success. I like it.
Yeah, and then right after following this one, we had Ram versus Bogan Jesus. Bogan Jesus with the great, fantastic name that he's got there for himself. I don't know if that was intentional that he started his music or the video that started playing was supposed to be the Divine Light or something like that, or that was a rib on the Divine Light because it is Bogan Jesus coming out. I thought that was kind of interesting in this, but this match was it was fine. There was nothing particularly great about it, nothing particular wrong. This is what we talk about with that booking. Had this match gone on first, this didn't have the kind of heat behind it in order to kick off the show. That's why it was good to put it where it is, to kind of divide up some of what they've got going throughout this entire card. It's a couple of big boys went out there. They didn't go too long, kept it nice and sweet, got to the point. Ram picks up the victory in the end.
Yeah. I was left scratching my head a little bit with this match. I thought they were going to do something more. Bogan Jesus is pretty popular amongst the crowd. I mean, it's quite funny in the first place, and the crowd is snickering behind their hand the entire time, but they like him. They chant for him. He's not nearly a top of the card type of guy, but they like him for his spot wherever he is, second, third match kind of thing. Ram, not so sure about him. He looks like he's been around the block many, many, many times.
Yeah.
Nothing against that, but these guys went for 4 minutes, some brawling, some power moves, and I kind of thought Bogan Jesus was going to go over, and then no, Ram kind of did his headbutt to the midsection kind of thing and got the pin. So Ram getting a push, I don't know exactly, but this was a match and it happened, and yeah, that's about all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to some of the matches that go on a PPW. It's you send a couple of guys out there because you gotta put out some extra spots and stuff like that. That's what this was. It wasn't story building or anything like that. It was a couple of guys that you had there on the card that know how to work and go do a 4-minute match to keep the crowd active. Because up next they're going to have a segment, so they got to keep that crowd active. Well, we want to know, would you guys like to see the company, our company, obviously PPW, involved in WWE ID? Our company, no. The wrestlers, maybe. That's all I got to say about that. Moving on, we got our good friend, even though he's a dastardly heel over there in SPW. James Shaw is backstage along with Ryder, who's up for that title shot later in the night. And here's where we get to find out those questions that have been nagging at us all this time, you know, since we watched the last show, since we had James on the program here with us. And he wants the Golden Boy to cough up that title shot. It should go to James Shaw. He deserves it. He wants him to cough it up. Then, yeah, of course, then Professor Palmer comes into the situation. Ryder's having none of it. He's not coughing up what he's earned himself. He wants to take that title shot later that night. Good on him. Palmer then starts walking away. I thought this was great. Now, all of a sudden, as he's walking down the backstage area, you see K9 having a little workout backstage. And Palmer goes over to him, says he understands what it's like to lose a brother. And K9 just turns around and goes, piss off. And then he says, and Moody is a dead man. Loved it. I thought this was, as far as segments go, this was mint. I love this segment.
Yeah, and SPW keeps their kind of verbal segments fairly short, fairly straight to the point, just like this one. I think we appreciate that as fans, but love this. Hey, James, I love you, buddy, but you're such a greasy heel. And he comes in with that slimy con man grifter kind of shtick going on, and just after the Southern Rumble, I mean, the strife and the backstabbing that went on between him and Ryder, and then here he is up to him, hey man, you should probably just give me that title shot because, you know, I'm the leader of the group, and Ryder's like, no way, man, I earned this, there's no way you're getting that. And Shaw tries every trick in the book to get him to hand it over, and oh, what a wonderful little segment, great heel work, loving James Shaw as the Carney evangelist, cult leader sort of thing, just absolutely perfect. But it still kind of makes you think in the back of your mind, what's going to happen in the title match later with Ryder? Is this straight up? Has he broken away from the divine light? Will James Shaw be a factor in the match? Will the manager be a factor in the match? Okay, gotta wait until that. Just wonder until then.
Yeah, we will wonder, and we will see later in the night what happens in that title picture. But first, we got to get to a little bit of a feud between two former close friends. We're talking about the Smoko Express. Just as Papa Smokes was starting to get into the Smoko Express and love them as a tag team, as the Dastardly Man joins the Blacklight District and turns on his partner Jacko. So they're going to have themselves a construction site rules matchup. So essentially, no holds bar, no DQ, along with a toolbox full of construction-like tools at ringside. And I got to say, for a match with that kind of gimmick in it, they didn't overdo the gimmicky side of this thing. They jumpstart the match during the entrances. Great. We've done that. We've seen that before. It's great to do that when you've got heat between two former friends or guys who just brutally hate each other. But I was shocked as this thing went on that they didn't get too deep into using too many different objects outside the ring. They used them sparingly, but there was a lot of professional wrestling done throughout this matchup. And then the ending goes with that pallet. And oh my God, man, table spots are one thing. A pallet skid that is used for product and stuff. And I know that the boards in between, when you get directly centered to them, have a little bit of give to them and stuff like that. But those pallets, and that one in particular, it had the thick 2x4 board in the center of the pallet itself. And when all of a sudden that power bomb happened from Ozza to Jacko onto that thing, I cringed. God damn it, man. That looked painful. Ozza picking up a big victory here, but this match was excellent. I liked this match a hell of a lot, actually. This was good between these two guys.
No, same. And just like when they had the Smoko Express, a long-time popular tag team that had held the tag team titles and all that stuff in SPW, when you bust them up, you got to make the best of it. You only have a small window. You only probably have a few matches where you can keep that heat blazing. As far as we know, this is the first match where they faced each other, the first one that they've shown the wide audience anyway. And, they did make the best of it. I like what you said. They didn't overdo the whole hardcore element to this match. You can still do it without weapons constantly and breaking furniture and all this stuff all the time if you keep it to a minimum and make those spots big and make them dramatic and make them count. That's probably even better. And that's kind of what it was like in this match. Muntz and I also looked at that pallet, and I worked in a warehouse or two when I was a young college student in the summer times and all that. And those pallets, it's not a table that's one piece of wood. It's not a door in the corner that's one piece of wood that's going to break. It's two layers and it's supported in the middle. So it takes a lot of force and a lot of weight to break one of those. So huge spot at the end. This tag team dissolving the Smoko Express. This match kind of showed that between the two of them, Jocko's very popular, but Ozza looks like he's got the stuff just a little bit more, right? He's got the sauce. He looks like the guy that they're going to kind of push out of this tag team. So it looks from this match at least. And he brought it. And you could see that he had his game face on. There's a guy that knows how to use the ringside cameras there too. Did you see how many times he saw it there and he turned right and yelled into it and made the face and gave everybody a good close-up look and a few words as to what his current emotional state was in the ring, just in case you didn't know. Now you know. There's Ozza. That's a guy that's got big things on his mind, a guy that's got progression in the company on his mind, a guy that's looking up to move up the card. And that's probably just what he's doing by winning that match. There, you got your Smoko Express broken up, tied up with a nice little knot on it. That's over. And now you progress with both guys as singles in whatever direction you decide.
You bet. Yeah, the best thing is that you can clearly see what SPW is doing. They're setting themselves up for the future. They're setting their next talents that are going to start being pushed towards the top into that position now, to being guided by a lot of the veterans in the company in order to build for the future, because you never know when a JK Moody might decide to go back overseas and start working or get a call from somebody. Maybe this ID program starts coming to New Zealand. They start plucking New Zealand dry of all their top experienced talents here sometimes too. We talk about guys like Jamie Takatanasi, K9, JK Moody, guys like that. If they get plucked away, then you got to start relying on the next set of talent. And they're seeing that ahead of time. They're planning it ahead of time. And Ozza has the stuff. Clearly, Ozza is somebody that they can put into that position. Every time we've seen him, I've been that much more impressed. He grows that much more every time, from you, the little trinkets inside the ring, the way he works, the facials, and as well as working those cameras as well too. I think Ozza has got every bit the right to be at the top of the card there. And I think he has every bit of the right to push himself forward in the pro wrestling world outside of New Zealand when he chooses to do so.
And you got to know that those guys thinking, Ozza's thinking, we're the Rockers breaking up, but I'm the Shawn Michaels and he's the Marty Jannetty. Not a personal thing, but just in the way of moving forwards in wrestling, Ozza is going to try and be the Shawn Michaels.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. But, we've just started seeing this thing happen. Jacko might turn around to be one of the top babyface stars in the company as well too. He might be on a different trajectory, but in a year's time, we could be talking about him at the top of the card as well too, because clearly, as far as the audience goes, he is a top guy. Like, they love the hell out of him. So there's no reason why the company wouldn't trust pushing him ahead as well too.
No, for sure. Absolutely. But talking about this match, Ozza goes over and Ozza's looking like the bigger force here. So we'll see what happens. They could have a few more matches against each other and draw that out a little bit too. But as for the Smoko Express, hilarious while it was there, but it is done.
It is done for sure. And they won't be back to fight the following two tag teams that are in our next match. We've got another match. I remember they had this match when we first reviewed SPW. It's the Southern Elves taking on the Divine Light. Only difference is the Divine Light is not going to be Shaw and Ryder this time. It is Shaw and Professor Palmer, or dare I say, Professor Palmer. I keep saying Professor Palmer. I'm used to that name from back in the day. Prophet Palmer. versus the Southern Alps all by himself inevitably in this matchup, because once again, Shaw leaving his tag team partner to just be destroyed in this matchup. And of course, Palmer afterwards begging for Shaw to forgive him and stuff like that. Like, he is just that perfect slimy little sidekick heel and everything like that. I like the way this guy works as the heel manager, or the guy in the group that, you know, he's there, but he's also getting bossed around by the bigger, tougher leader of the group kind of thing. And Shaw, this works so good. And again, we don't know where this is leading yet, too. Palmer could continue to be at Shaw's side for years, for all we know, because at this point in time, he seems to be willing to take the abuse and come back for more.
Oh, for sure. And when this match started, you could see, once again, you could always hear the crowd in these SPW shows, and it just, Shaw was coming out by himself, and you're just thinking, what's going to happen in this? He can't, certainly is not going to take on these two behemoths by himself. And you can hear the crowd saying, is it going to be the manager? Will it be the manager? You can hear them kind of restless there, wondering what's going to go on. And yeah, it's Palmer in there again, and he sure has to do that fall guy kind of position quite a bit, because several of these shows we reviewed, he gets in there in his slacks and his dress shirt, and he gets his ass kicked. And tonight was no different in this show, because James Shaw showing once again that he is only interested in James Shaw, and he doesn't give a damn about anybody else, even his own guy. So he leaves Palmer to the merciless beatings of the Alps. And not to mention, just didn't want to leave this unsaid too. James Shaw, did you see that body slam of one of the huge Alps guys? Wow.
Yes, I did.
We talked to James Shaw on this podcast, and you remember he said sometimes it's tempting to get some extra sleep and rest and feel better and miss the gym. He said, but I never do that because the gym's important. Well, look at this. He's looking good. He's looking strong. That body slam that had to be the slam from the edge of the world. What do we call that? There's got to be a name for it, because that was big. That was really fun, but still, the slimy grifter that he is, he leaves his own man to the mercy of the Alps, who lay a tremendous beating on him. Then Shaw comes back in and demands obedience from Palmer and makes him get down on his knees and kiss his hand and everything. And Palmer does it. Now, clearly, you can see that he wasn't happy about parts of that. And you can see that there's cracks forming in this alliance as well. But for now, James Shaw gets his way again. Ooh, he's a slick talker, and he's a bad man. And I love to watch it. But we're going to see what happens in the future with the Divine Light.
I'm just going to say it right now, Papa Smokes. James Shaw, I know you're firing up the old PlayStation, tuning into the video, bros, now, right here. Bro, you seem to be a man with not as many friends as you once had. And I know we might live on the other side of the world from you at the moment, but virtually we can come on screen and annoy the shit out of anybody for you and really get under the skin, cause a distraction virtually, whatever you need, brother. We will be your Canadian Divine Light if you need. You know where to find us. And that slam, by the way, Papa Smokes, I think we need to call that the slam through the edge of the world.
Nice. I love it. I was watching it up here in Canada, and I swear I could feel like a little bit of a trip.
Well, we were at PPW. That was the extra banging around that night, because they had this on
there you go,
same as us too. So I have a feeling that whole thing crashed over to our side a little bit, kind of like I'm sure they did when Michael Allen El Assassino went through the damn ramp that night. But that's not part of this show. You go back last week, find out all about that one. Up after the tag match, Papa Smokes, we've been waiting for this one for a while. It's good, two good old friends, guys who have been tag team partners. They've traveled the world together, and now it's time for them to settle a score, because J.K. Moody's been bashing K9 over the head with a steel chair one too many times. K9 versus J.K. Moody is up next, and I'll tell you, while there is 3 matches that I will put as the top on this card, that's the Jacko and Ozza matchup, the championship matchup, and then this one were my 3 favorites. This one overall is my favorite. I gotta say, this is 2 phenomenal workers, clearly know how to work together. They know how to steal a show. The crowd was into it from start to finish, and even the finish didn't bother me. I know a lot of people don't like a disqualification type finish. This was exactly what this match needed, because it didn't put a win in K9's favor to, pinfall over the leader of the BLD or anything like that. K9 gets a measure of retribution by finally hitting JK Booty over the head with a chair. Doesn't give a shit about whether or not he loses the match by disqualification. He gets that measure of retribution, gets that heat back that he needs going forward. Neither man is left looking like a chump out of this thing, and it leaves it open for more between these 2 guys, which SPW, come on, give us more. K9, JK Moody, absolute dynamite matchup, top on this card by a long shot.
Yeah, can't disagree with that whatsoever. As soon as I got into this match, I thought this is the money match of the evening by a long shot, probably. And it's not the main event, and it's not your title match, but the grudge match between these 2 that have such a long history. And they talked about it on the mic during the Southern Rumble show. Both of them gave a little bit of background about, man, we've been friends since we were in wrestling school. We've been humping the road together all up and down New Zealand and Australia and Japan and all the rest of it, all the places they traveled. And then you can see that they both had success during that time together, because there are 2 top guys in SPW, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they're 2 top guys in the entire country, probably among the top guys of New Zealand wrestling. You can see by their popularity, but now they've come out on opposite sides of their ideology, so to speak. K9 doesn't really give a damn about anything, but he's on the fans are on his side because he's a kick-ass killer. And Moody, awesome top heel in the company by a long shot, so good at his job. He's got the look, he's got the in-ring, he's got great charisma on the mic, and they've given him his own faction over which he rules with somewhat an iron fist, but somewhat supporting his guys a little bit too. But this match was going to be a grudge match. It's a little bit weird to have it end by disqualification, but when it's a grudge match, but I also see the logic in that as well, that you're not favoring one over the other. You're going to get more mileage out of this feud, and these 2 put on one hell of a show. This is what I believe the kids call a banger, because not only did these guys pull out all the stops, but they went all through the crowd. And this was one of those matches. This reminds me of a Cannonball Kelly match. He's given the fans their money's worth into the crowd. They don't even have the barriers at SPW. They just have the front row sitting right there. So the guys have easy access into the crowd. Oh, and there's tables back there. There's sliding dudes across tables. They're smashing each other all through the crowd. I love getting a look at the crowd when the camera can be on it. You don't get more than glimpses with SPW, but it's enough for me because I like seeing who's at these shows. Just a slight aside here, I'm always interested in looking what kind of people are in the crowd, what sort of demographics are going on, and I like SPW a whole bunch because they have fans of all different ages. It's not a scene, it's not 18 to 23-year-old hipsters at the show. It's families. It's a mom, a dad, 2 kids, a 30-year-old guy and his dad, a guy and his girlfriend. It's all kind of different people. I like how much family action there is at the shows. So that's very cool. Crowd got a great look at these guys up close. So good up close action. And one other thing I wanted to say about this match is it's part of the whole build-up that these guys have trained together, wrestled together a million times, tag team. against each other, all that. They're no strangers to each other. Sometimes a match between two guys like that looks like that, but this didn't look like that. This didn't look practiced or like they've done it a million times. They still put out a good match where it looked like they were competing against each other. It had a sense of a true grudge match where there are bad feelings towards each other and each guy is struggling to get the advantage. Looked good. Tip of the hat, 2 thumbs up, A plus. This was the money match of this card. Love it. Would love to see more.
Oh, for sure. Moving on from there, we get a little bit of a segment. This one being in the ring this time around. Of course, I was at the top of the night. We heard that Hooligan wasn't going to be in a matchup. He wasn't cleared to wrestle. I was like, damn, that sucks. Love me some Hooligan. So does Papa Smokes. But he was on commentary almost the night, including a couple of times where he wasn't there and came back and just grabbed another beer kind of thing. I was having some good chuckles listening to Hooligan on the mic there on the show. So
he was awesome.
Yeah. So he comes down to the ring and he wants to give tribute to someone. He's starting to give tribute to Liam Fury, who's been in the business for over 20 years, worked right there in SPW. He's trained a lot of the top names. He's the one who trained Dakota Kai. He's the first one that comes to the shows, the last one to leave. He's there doing the training. He's the man. And we know guys like this in the industry ourselves, personally, Papa Smoke. And they put in that tireless amount of work that never gets the amount of praise and thanks it deserves. And so Hooligan's really putting Liam Fury over, and he calls him out and he's giving him his accolades. And then Hooligan goes ahead and says, after all this, I want to wrestle you. I want to fight you. And I'm going to be good to go at the next show, Fight for Gold in January 2025. I want that matchup. And the crowd wants that matchup. They're hot. Let's do it. Let's make this happen. I'm like, ooh, I fear this isn't going to go exactly the let's shake hands and have a nice, happy fight come January. Can't go down like that. So Liam says they're not interested in the matchup himself. That then provokes Hooligan to go ahead and take matters into his own hands. And he hits Cruel Intentions on Liam Fury and then the penalty kick, followed by turning around to Fury and saying, "You are a coward with no balls. I will see you at Fight for Gold in January." I now believe that this is definitely going to end up happening in January, or at least Hooligan's going to call it out again come January, especially if he is cleared to wrestle at that time. I thought this was great. I got to learn about Liam Fury, which was nice to learn about somebody who deserves it deserves to get his flowers, as the kids say, and the accolades that he deserves. And I thought this was great. This is typical Hooligan style right there. I might not be in a match, but I'm going to go get in a fight here tonight. That is the Hooligan way. Love this. This was good. Solid little piece.
No, very much so. And Hooligan's so good on the mic, isn't he? He's got that like sports raw kind of speech to the crowd, and he's very good at it. The crowd was just roaring along with him. You got to remember, since we've been watching SPW, so let's say the last 4 or 5 big shows, basically pretty much the last year, the Hooligan has been a babyface. So he comes out with this speech. It's a babyface speech. He's giving credit to this guy. He's giving the kindest and most respectful words you could possibly give to a peer in your business. And you can see that Liam Fury is, I don't want the spotlight. I don't want this. He didn't want to come out from the shadows where he was working security or whatever, or being an agent in the back or whatever. But he did. He got in the ring and he was kind of saying like, no, I don't want this. And Hooligan kept bringing it out of him. No, dude, you deserve this and everything. But it turned on a dime, right? Like, and all credit to Hooligan, just the way he did it verbally. It came around to, I want to wrestle you because I want to show you respect, and it'll be something that I can respect about myself if I wrestle you, but then taking it too far, like a heel would, like saying, I'm not going to let you say no. This is the match I want. I want to put you down, and I want everyone to remember me as the guy that took out this legend in SPW wrestling and in New Zealand wrestling, a trainer, a guru, a mentor, somebody that all the guys look up to. And what better way to make your heel turn, I suppose, or to get the attention of the fans and all the other wrestlers, but kick him right in the head. Kick him in the head as hard as you can. That way, he's not going to say no to your match. That way, you let everybody know you mean business, and he better watch it. Come the next show, the Gold Show next year, it's going to be on, and oh, I can't wait. And I'm hoping the Hooligan is a heel because I really want to see how bad he's going to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. The nice thing about Hooligan though is he doesn't really change between his baby face and his heel work. He just changes who he's fighting and who he's kicking the snot out of, because he has that aggressive nature to his character. That is his demeanor. It's who he's going up against. And if he wants to go up against the heels and be the hero, it works. If he wants to go and be the dickhead that creates the fight and forces someone to fight him, that works just as well too. And that's what's great about the Hooligan. I'm looking forward to this. Again, I'm not as familiar with Liam Fury, but based on the accolades that were put over by Hooligan in this matchup, I feel this would be a great matchup coming up at Fight for Gold.
Yeah, I'm guessing he can handle himself, and he wouldn't be getting called out, I guess, if he can't. So we're gonna see no sign of what he'll be like as a wrestler or anything. He didn't work much at putting himself over in this position. I don't think that's what he was meant to do or anything. He seemed just quiet and everything and trying to get out of the situation. And yeah, I can relate to that. I probably would try and get out of a match with Hooligan also.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get in a fight with him. I'd rather drink a beer with him after watching a soccer match personally. But yes, after this one, we've got our main event of the evening. It's going to be for the SPW New Zealand Championship. It's Cool Guy Sky versus Ryder. This clicked in with me as they started mentioning it. These guys used to be a team. That is where the friendship was from. And I recalled, I was like, that's right. Detention was Professor Palmer, Cool Guy Sky, and Ryder. When I first started watching, that was the heel team at the time. Since then, of course, Cool Guy Sky has broken free from that. He's now become the Rockstar champion that we've seen over here. Ryder is starting to now break away from his new group, the Divine Light, and come out, and do his own thing. And even talking to James Shaw, he said it's great to see these guys being put over and, the opportunity to get Ryder into this position. So there's a lot of backstory behind this matchup going into it. Ryder finally overcomes the big hurdle and wins the battle royal to head here for the championship spot. Cool Guy Sky, 1 year as the champion. This was where he won it 1 year ago. Can he continue this impressive reign in SPW, or will Ryder finally win the big one? And this match was solid, Papa Smokes. These two guys clearly know each other. They know each other well. And we've said it before, Ryder doesn't look like your typical pro wrestler in a matchup. You look at him and you think, huh? And then you watch him go and you're like, well, holy shit. Like he wakes you right up to it, because he is incredibly good once that bell starts going. It doesn't matter what he looks like, because he is one guy that overcomes it very well with his in-ring ability. This match was good. A lot of good selling. Again, Sky is great at selling, being injured in these matchups too. I know at one point he missed a 450 splash. He started selling his leg from the impact of the miss and stuff like that. Phenomenal way of doing it. He fights from underneath, comes back. He's usually outpowered by a bigger wrestler in a lot of these matchups. Ryder, not necessarily a bigger wrestler, so to speak. They're a little bit more in the same size category in some degrees throughout this one. So he didn't have to fight from underneath like he has had against some of the taller, bigger boys that he's fought in recent times. But this was solid. It was a good match, good finish. Cool Guy Sky again victorious. It was the aftermath where it got interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute. Before we get to the aftermath, Papa Spokes, your thoughts on the match itself?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because when you think back to the Southern Rumble, that whole match took me by surprise, especially Ryder's rise to prominence in that. I had seen him before as part of the Divine Light. He's quite a good worker. You mentioned that he doesn't look like he'd be a good wrestler. I get what you mean by that, but at the same point, he does kind of look like that in a way too. He's got a nice boyish face. He's got the nice little haircut. You can see how people might like him and might want to get behind him. He's got a charisma to him.
Oh yeah.
So him winning that Southern Rumble was a little bit of a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting him. He's kind of he was part of the tag team scene, so usually kind of middle of the card thing, but you can see they have trust in this guy. They have enthusiasm for him, pardon me, so they're going to give him a main event title match. So now we come into this match. Cool Guy Sky is a baby face. I mean, a real strong baby face. They like him lots, and he doesn't cheat. He doesn't do anything nefarious. He's all about the fans. He's all about the rock music and bandanas and all that stuff. He is a straight up babyface. So now Ryder in the Southern Rumble, he kind of turns on James Shaw in the Divine Light, and with his positive attitude and his newfound attitude in that match, by God, he pulls off a win. You remember him flipping Jamie Takatasi out of the ring with a head scissors? I mean, my God, you would just never think of even trying something like that. By God, he wins the whole thing. So now he's got a very babyface energy coming out of this. It's like, oh, damn. Guy got rid of some of the crappy people in his life, focused on himself, bet on himself, came through and won this huge event that's so hard to win. So he's now coming into this match against the champion with a very babyface kind of positive energy. So I was kind of thinking, okay, what are they going to do to build heat in this? And they never really did run it as a babyface versus heel match. However, once Cool Guy Sky missed that first 450 splash, landed on his feet, tweaked to the knee. We've seen this trope used many times in pro wrestling. So now that's where the question comes: what's Ryder going to do about this situation? Will he be a sportsman, just continue to wrestle as usual, or is he going to be a shark, smelling blood and go after that knee? Oh, yeah, in a championship match, of course you're going after that knee. And he tortures Sky for the long middle part of.
Oh, we've accidentally lost Papa Smokes here, so we will hold on tight as Papa Smokes makes his way back in, hopefully. We will talk about the aftermath of this whole thing here in just a few minutes. We will see if Papa Smokes makes his way back. We are coming to the end of the program. We thank you all for staying tuned in. While I am waiting for Papa Smokes to make his way back to the show, I'm going to go ahead and try to do a screen share here for you all. Let's see. Oh, no, Papa Smokes has made it back. We have a return. Papa Smokes, are you there with us?
I got booted, Bunsen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can't see you, but we can hear you at least.
Okay, I'm going to try and log in here again. Just 1 second.
All right, sounds good. Well, Papa Smokes is going ahead. There we go. We got visual now, Papa Smokes.
All right.
All right,
Woo.
perfect. So, as we were saying, yes, again, with that match, that aftermath, the guys, shaking hands and being good with each other, you didn't really have much of that heat, and I believe that it was best left for that, because what would come afterwards was where the heat would come after all this. The Blacklight District make their way down to the ring. They beat the living tar out of Cool Guy Sky, and Ozza, who we originally thought was going to cash in that title opportunity for a tag title match when he was still with the Jacko Express, finally cashes it in on Cool Guy Sky, and we have ourselves a brand new SPW heavyweight champion of the world. It is Ozza. Man, Papa Smokes, they've pushed this guy to the moon, and it works. It works very well. I believe this means that we will possibly see a matchup coming up soon against Cool Guy Sky, maybe in a return fight. Again, I'm trying to remember how Fight for Gold works. If I'm not mistaken, Fight for Gold consists of 4 one-on-one matchups, and the winners of those matchups might go into a ladder match for an opportunity at the title or something like that, or it's directly for the title. It's something along those lines. I can't quite remember, but it's coming up in January, so we will know soon, or we'll hear more about it very soon. But again, I got to imagine we haven't seen the last of Cool Guy Sky wanting an opportunity back at Ozza, especially after having the title essentially stolen from him. But again, Cool Guy Sky's going to have quite the hurdle with the entire Blacklight District on his back.
No, for sure. And this just opens up a little bit more fun for their booker, too, because after a year of having a babyface champ, now we've got a vicious heel as the champ. And now you can start getting some different talent, some different talent into that main event spot, into that championship picture. And now you've got a whole new platter of championship matches you can start with the top heels in your company. With the top baby faces in your company. So imagine what that does for a booker. All the guys you couldn't put in that main event, now you can put them in, and that should maybe sort of set up the next handful of shows with Ozza as the champion.
Yeah, you bet. I think it's going to be a great run for Ozza. He's a heel, but I hate to say it, I am happy for him. I'm glad to see that they're pushing their new person to the top of the card. Again, you know what was great about this, too, is that visual of seeing the Blacklight District in the ring. And the most well-seasoned veteran in that group, J.K. Moody, who had that title shot just the last card there, is the only one not holding gold, because it feels like a lot of the veterans of SPW are doing what they can to usher in this new wave of top stars in the company. And that was the image right there. You have your tag team champions and your new world champion right there in the ring, and they're all the faces of tomorrow.
Sure. And it also kind of begs the question, too, is that a Blacklight District, they've got the tag team champions, they've got another guy, Ozza, and then they've got the leader, Moody. How does Moody feel about his subordinate, Ozza, the newest member of the group, stepping up and taking that belt? Shouldn't that be the Blacklight District's entire game plan, is to get Moody to championship? Isn't it? I would assume so. He's the leader of the group. He's the top guy. He's the big heel in the company. So how is that going to sit? Was a question in my mind as well. What's Moody going to think about that? Should it be Ozza as the champion representing Blacklight District? I don't know. Maybe it should be Moody.
At the same time, does this lead to the question, and I'm going to say it here right now, Pop Smokes, not too long into the future, does Ozza decide that maybe Moody has become dead weight to the group, and Ozza decides to take over as the leader of the Blacklight District, and they kick J.K. Moody out, and that leading to an Ozza J.K. Moody feud down the road?
Absolutely possible. Absolutely. And one of the things, I've thought about it before in watching J.K. Moody, but it also struck me in this show. As fine as a heel he is, and he is a damn fine heel, he's going to make an awesome babyface. Watch when he turns. Watch, the fans won't even remember any of that bad stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to love him. They're going to love him because he's got the skill to pull it off. If you can be an intensely good heel, you can probably be an intensely good babyface too. And Moody's got that kind of sauce. I have no question of that.
Oh, for sure. And that, I'm sure that time will come, and we will see more of it as we continue to review SPW here on our show. But we've run over the hour here, Papa Smoke, something we don't normally do, but we're glad we could do that, especially for our good friends at SPW. But before we say our personal goodbyes, I said earlier in the show I was going to bring this onto the screen, so I'm going to do it right now. Again, if anybody wants to join us live in Saskatoon for our big show coming up there, it is in conjunction with the University of Saskatchewan. Over there, call it Queer in the Ring, slamming history of diversity in wrestling. On our side of the fence, we are calling it Ring Respect Radio presents a trip through the territories, Saskatchewan territory, of course. That QR code right there, you're looking at it. That is where you need to register. There is a limited number of seats to be able to join us live in Saskatoon at Louis Loft, 7 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. next Thursday night. So if you are going to be in Saskatoon, please scan that QR code right here, right now, and make sure that you get your reserved spot to join myself and Papa Smokes. And we talk about a whole lot of different things, including diversity in professional wrestling, as well as a history of professional wrestling here in the province. A lot to unfold, Papa Smokes. We've got so much there that this easily could have been a multi-night type of thing. We didn't know there would be this much from Saskatchewan when we started doing this, but man, we have unlocked Pandora's box when it comes to the history of pro wrestling here in Saskatchewan. And I for one, am very excited for next Thursday night. It will be broadcast here on the channel OLE, the Video Bros Network, so you'll be able to check those out. But Papa Smokes, I mean, I'm thankful to the university. I'm thankful to all the people that are going to be joining us live in person, and also thankful to all of our regular viewers that are going to be joining us here in a live capacity next Thursday night.
Very much so, and I like the allusion you made about Pandora's box, because for us it kind of was almost that, literally looking at that collection in the library in the University of Saskatchewan. What a thrill it was to just go through some of that stuff. Man, we got to get the time to go through all of it. There's a whole hell of a lot there. We obviously can't look at, talk about, and show the people everything. Not all of it, of course, is directly related to the topic matter we're going to be talking about next week. But what a treasure trove of wrestling memorabilia, and we got to try and get through all of that at some point, Munson. But we'll have a great discussion next week. Looking forward to it. Breaking some new ground with Ring Respect Radio. Onwards and forward, Munson. We always said we're going to take it as far as we can take it.
Oh, yes, we will. And we're going to take it there that night. I know that, of course, the two from Pro Wrestling Weekly there, Jordan the Stove, and as well as NJ. And I think a lot of his crew are coming to join us live there, as well as I'm sure many people from the U of S that attend that maybe aren't familiar with the Video Bros, but are interested in the topic at hand. So again, if you want to join us, that QR code was up on the screen. That's what you need to scan. Register your seat. There's a limited number available. After that, we apologize. You'll have to join us live on stream here. But, it's getting to that point. We got to wrap things up, Papa Smokes. Again, we want you to join. I guess in about 1 hour's time, you'll be able to join Auntie Collins and Kimmy Sokol for the Honor Ramble to find out what happened tonight on Ring of Honor, and probably to have some good laughs about all sorts of things, probably food tops.
Food. Yeah.
Seems to be a good subject over there, but join them. They're a bundle of fun. We had them here on the show. We absolutely adore what they're doing, so join them. But in the meantime and in between time, let's make this show cost a whole lot more. It's the Papa Smokes ticker. Tell them where you're at, Papa Smokes.
Hey, just before that, for 1 second, Munson, I forgot to get this in.
Yep.
Wearing the jersey. It's Canadian football time. Once again, it's November. The big game, the Grey Cup, is coming up this Sunday. Papa Smokes' team, the Winnipeg Bombers, straight in that game with a bullet, looking to win the big one. 5th straight appearance in the Grey Cup. Looking good. Can't wait. Big, exciting moment. I got my tin of smoked oysters, which is kind of a tradition around my household for the big football games. I'm going to have snacks. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, just bringing that up because it's that time of year. But it's also the time in the show when I will give out my socials. I can be found on Elon Musk's Free Speech Wonderland, known as X. I'm at Smokes_Papa. I'm also on Twitch just for fun, just to watch a little streaming. I am at Papa_Smokes_.
There you go. That's where you can find Papa Smokes. That's for myself, Bobby Munson, over at the X. It's Real Bobby Munson. Instagram and Threads, Video Bros SK, and Twitch, it's Video Bro_Bobby Munson. What do I got coming up? Well, again, tomorrow night, this should be interesting. Depending on when it ends versus when the Japanese wrestling update is on, I will definitely be on at some point tomorrow night. Andre C might be joining me as well, too, depending on his schedule. but we will be reviewing the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. You talk about snacks and fun at your place, Papa Smokes. I am a big boxing fan. Growing up, boxing, MMA, anything like that was always something that was on in my household. Grew up in a family of boxers. So again, I'm looking forward to watching this fight. As a kid, I used to sometimes root against Tyson because he won so much that you just kind of want to find that one guy to punch him out. At 58 years old, I want to see Mike Tyson punch Jake Paul in the goddamn face multiple times. I'm going to have my snacks ready. I'm going to watch some boys punching each other out. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait for it. And join me here tomorrow night. Sunday, of course, our NFL draft picks, NFL picks of the week are going to be coming back up. Find out if Ed and I were able to catch up a little bit to Mark or maybe overthrow him. You'll find out the updated scores. Andre and the viewers might still just be a little bit behind, but they're still kicking ass. And a big thank you to STG, who's been representing the viewers, who also paid up in advance, knowing that he wouldn't be able to catch the top spot. It's paid up, gave us 10 subscriptions right here on Twitch. That's 10 full subscriptions on Twitch. Thanks to STG. That shit ain't cheap, and you are the man. Thank you, STG. We appreciate you, our Canadian brother. Of course, we are going to have another Ring Respect Radio next Thursday. We talked all about that, so join us for that, of course. And then check out everything our local establishment over the X OLE podcast, X and Instagram and Threads, same deal. YouTube and Twitch, we're at our local establishment, same with Facebook and TikTok. And now, we are on another social media because why not? You got to have 700 of them these days. And the kids kept asking, when are we going to get on Blue Sky? Well, there you have it. OLEpodcast.bsky.social is our local establishment over on Blue Sky, which is some other form of everything else that exists already. But hey, why not? Because we need to advertise all across the planet on different platforms. That's where we're at. That's where you can find us. We thank you for joining in. From myself and from Papa Smokes, we thank you for joining us on Ring Respect Radio. We will see you for our big show live next Thursday night. Take care.